So it feels like lately Drizzy Drake, has been on a little bit of a slide when it comes to the quality of his releases. But today I'm going to talk about it. In this one, I'll be talking about, you know, how I've been taking down this Drake music and how I haven't been enjoying it myself as of late. Let's get into the video. So, Drake is one of the most successful artists in history of music. He has multiple diamond albums. He has great albums in his catalog, like Take Care, Nothing Was the Same, If You're Reading This It's Too Late, Scorpion, More Life. I even did like some Certified Lover Boy. Honestly, never mind. Her Loss. He has a lot of great and big popping albums in his catalog, but it feels like lately there's a bit of a slide when it comes to his music. And I think it all started from Certified Lover Boy. Yes, I just said I like some of this track list, but it was very hit or miss. Yeah, you have your songs like your Champagne Poetries when he's on this beautiful production and he's gliding on it. You have tracks like Love All that are great. Songs like Fair Trade. Songs like You Only Live Twice. And I just feel like there has been some inconsistencies on this track list. Like there's songs like You Only Live Twice, there's songs like Champagne Poetry, songs like Love All, Race My Mind, and you get like the Get Along Betters and like the in the Bibles that don't really sound great in my opinion. So this is kind of the start of the slide. Now, obviously, he obviously dropped the Scary Hours, that Scary Hours EP with songs like What's Next. I like that, so I'm not gonna point out that. We're gonna go to Her Loss, which, yes, this was a great album, don't get me wrong. But there were songs that I didn't like on this album as well. There's songs like Hours in Silence that I liked Drake's part. I think 21's part was lackluster. I think Drake's most corniest part was on Treacherous Twins. I think it was a decent song for its time, but I'm not really going back to that song in 2025. Also with the outro, I guess it's F Me. I'm not a fan of that singing performance by Drake. It sounds kind of lifeless in my opinion, and it doesn't really sound like Drake's top tier R&B performances like The Jungles, like the Iconics on Marvin's Room and whatnot. Doesn't sound like that. So this was a great album, but there were definitely some misses that were kind of when he stepped out of his comfort zone or when he sounded a bit awkward on tracks. But that's not really a big part. Let's go to the For All the Dogs in 2023. And originally, I was high on this album. I did enjoy tracks on it. And yeah, there are still some good tracks on it. But there is so much weaknesses on this album, in my opinion. Like a song like 7969 Santa. Drake sounds, a little sleepy on that track. Go to a song like an RBD towards the end of the track list. Didn't like some of the performances on that. Sounded like the beat was a little too fast for SZA, even though she does have a great vocal performance on that track. Also going to a song like Calling For You. When Drake's auto-tuned is sound like it screeches, it doesn't really sound phenomenal. 21 part was passable, but it was kind of, basic 21 Savage with this, slower flow. And it sounded decent, but it was still not an amazing track. Going on to songs like Daylight, I used to like because it was one of the better songs on the track list, but this is not like the auto tune was on an all-time high on this album, and I think he should slow down on the auto tune. I think that he has an impeccable voice. Or yes, he probably can have some auto tune, but dial it down. It sounds like Drake's vocal sound is buried in it to where you can't really hear the vocal lines within the tracks. So I think this is more of a 6 out of 10 for All the Dogs. There's some highlights like Virginia Beach and 8 a.m. Charlotte, FPS, first person shooter, but you have your misses on the latter half of the track list. Now, when you go to what happened in 2024, and he faced Kendrick Lamar, and we all know what happened within this rap battle. I honestly don't think he did bad in this rap battle. He definitely was there, was competing with him until Kendrick dropped the Knockout Punch with the Meet the Grams and the Not Like Us. And then Drake drops the Heart Part 6, which is a song that I didn't really like. I felt like, you know, Kendrick Lamar already won it even before he dropped that track. And no, it just felt like, Drake, he just really wanted to come back and, make the fans happy. And I don't think that, this is nearly enough to beat that Not Like Us song. That was one of the best songs of 2024 when it comes to the great Mustard production with the phenomenal, you know, lyrics of Kendrick Lamar. You have quotables like trying to take a chord is probably A minor, or Pass a Body like John Stockton, or the iconic They're Not Like Us hook. There was just so many crazy moments in that song, and it was probably one of the most streamed diss tracks of all time. I know it was in the top 10 when I looked, and it's one of the most streamed diss tracks ever. And obviously Drake lost that battle, so it probably dug him down even more. Now, let's move on to 2025 as we get, the collab album with Party Next Door. And let's be real, I think this is the weakest album that he's ever put out. Not a lot of replay value besides some Give Me a Hug and some Somebody Loves Me because of, the nice Drake performance and the, solid beat, decent P&D performance. But I'm not going back to this track. Yes, there's some good hits like Nokia and that are fun, nice synth leading, second beat, but I'm not going back to this track, and I think it was pretty disappointing. The album was pretty disappointing. I expected some good Toronto R&B, and you get to the songs like to recognize the hard-hitting bangers. I expected some more out of this project, and I don't think that this is nearly their best works in neither of their catalogs, honestly. And then when you go to the Iceman, these EPs where Drake is supposed to be gearing up for, his new album called Iceman, and it should be on the way, hopefully pretty soon. And he's dropped 3 episodes so far, and he's dropped, some of these new singles. So I'll talk about some of these singles. Starting off, I'll start with the What Did I Miss? And I like this song, I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't crazy on the first half, a lot of auto-tune again, but I like the beat, and I like the second beat switch. I think that Drake sound good on it. He's not auto-tuned, didn't sound overbearing, and he had some nice, some nice melodies on that second half. I think that was the best single he's dropped through that, Iceman, that Iceman run. Going to Which One with Central C. I didn't like that first beat. It just sounded kind of lackluster. It was just a little Spanish beat with no really rhythm to it. It was just, kind of just drum. It was just drums. You didn't really hear any interesting vocal samples, but you do get a nice beat in the second half. Get these groovy drums. You get this nice, this nice groove where you do think that this is one of the better beats he's rapped on, this year, from the singles. And I like that second beat, but I'm not a fan of that first half. I'm not crazy on Central C. I'm not crazy on that verse. Just kind of a filler verse from Central C. Just a mediocre Central C verse in my opinion. I wasn't crazy on it. And also, after Which One, you've gotten these tracks called Doghouse and, there's Somebody Loves Me Part 2. I think these are, in my opinion, just, weak tracks in his catalog. Just feel like with the Doghouse song, it just wasn't the Drake that I'm used to when he's hitting these crazy flows, when he's rapping on these phenomenal productions with these groundbreaking flows where when he gets into the right mood, he is destroying the beat. And he just sounds like lately that I'm not really, going back to a lot of these songs that he's been putting out lately. And I do think that there's been a big step back within Drake's catalog. Now, I am excited for this new Iceman album. I'll still listen to it. But I do want to see some high quality Drake back again. And I want to see him, back to at least 2020 with being demo tapes. That was a solid album. You have songs like Not You Too and the Deep Pockets when he's, rapping phenomenally. Also have that track with the Song Cry sample. That was a very good one as well. The Losses. Losses was a great track. There's definitely quality within the 2020s decade from Drake. Since 2025 has seemed like a year where he's kind of, he's kind of slipping. Hopefully he comes out with an amazing album. I'm definitely always rooting for Drake. He has been one of my favorite artists of all time. He's so fun to listen to dive into his catalog, but lately hasn't been great. That is today's video, guys. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. You guys want to see new videos. I'll be doing an NFL video pretty soon. That is it. I'm out. Peace.